Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Regional reaction to the U.S. decision to pull out of the Global Climate Change Agreement. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, June 2. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. On the heels of American President Donald Trump pulling out of the Paris Climate Change Agreement that had been hailed by the Caribbean, Dominica's Prime Minister says it's time to look beyond the United States for the region's socio-economic development. Roosevelt Skerritt gave that advice at the International Economic Forum in Russia on Friday. He told delegates there that Trump's decision highlighted the need for a fresh approach from countries heavily dependent on Washington. The American president had said that the U.S. was getting a raw deal from the accord, adding that his country would sacrifice too much while competitors like China and India face less stringent immediate restrictions under the accord.
We just witnessed the decision by the United States to move away from the Paris Accord. And I think this is a very important lesson for us in the Caribbean, Latin America, and of course Russia, that we need to now define our own process of integration and working together. No longer can we rely on certain northern regions to assure us of a better way of life for our citizens. And I believe that we need to learn from this new approach, particularly the United States, and most of our economies in terms of our currency are pegged against the United States, and therefore we have some link in it. But I believe that with the advancement of the Eurasia, Russian, Caribbean, Latin American partnership and relationship, we can overcome those challenges. We have to define a new path for ourselves.
Meantime, Caribbean hoteliers on Friday urged regional countries to stand firm in their adoption of the Paris Climate Change Agreement. And the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, that's the CHTA, also urged regional countries, businesses and residents to do their part in supporting sound environmental practices. CHTA President Caroline Trubetskoy stressed the importance of the accord, warning that the consequences from rising sea levels and temperatures, increasingly violent storms and severe droughts, oil spills, mismanagement of waste and coral bleaching are having mounting consequences. She said that left unchecked, those issues threaten the very viability of the region's economies and societies and the health and welfare of Caribbean people. The Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago Thursday night passed a motion of no confidence in Chief Justice Ivor Archie in a move that could have further ramifications for the judiciary. Archie, who became the youngest Chief Justice in the Twin Island Republic after he was appointed in January 2008, had come under criticism following the controversial appointment of former Chief Magistrate Marcia Ayres Caesar to the High Court earlier this year. The Law Association's President Douglas Mendes told reporters that while the vote was merely the legal fraternity expressing its opinion on the issue, it did not constitute impeachment proceedings against the Chief Justice. That can only be initiated by the Prime Minister. But senior counsel Martin Daly told reporters that he expected Archie and other members of the Judicial and Legal Services Commission to do the honorable thing and immediately resign. He said, quote, "If people lose confidence in you, it does not mean that you have committed a constitutional wrong, but rather that you have conducted yourself in such a way that you've destroyed people's confidence in you and you cannot continue to preside," end quote. Opposition legislator Gerald Ramdeen, who has been at the forefront of the criticism of the Chief Justice and the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, said he was pleased with the outcome. Staying in Trinidad and Tobago, government is in the process of appealing a decision in the High Court against its property tax rollout. High Court Judge Frank Sipasad ruled on Thursday night the Commissioner of Valuations could not accept valuation forms from citizens even on a voluntary basis. Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Stuart Young, says the government's lawyers are filing the notices of appeal and those should be served shortly.
As a government, we will continue to do what we can to implement the law, but at this stage, because of what has transpired in the court system, we will await the outcome of what the Court of Appeal has to say, and we hope that will happen very shortly.
In Antigua and Barbuda, a former Defense Force Captain, George Weiner, is up to appear in court on charges of intimidation and threats to kill in a matter involving Prime Minister Gaston Brown and other government ministers. His attorney, Leon Semester, told the Antigua Observer newspaper that they have been served with a summons to appear in court on August 24. The charges stem from a campaign video posted by Weiner, the main opposition United Progressive Party political hopeful for St. George. In December last year, Brown told Parliament that the video incited the assassination of legislators and that the matter was a serious concern and one of national security. Weiner faces 28 charges, 2 of each of the 14 people who were targeted in the video. He had issued a public apology over the video. While taking ownership of the video, he denied suggestions that he intended to carry out any act of terrorism in Antigua and Barbuda. Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister, Senator Johnson Smith, is urging Venezuela to reconsider its decision to leave the Organization of American States, the OAS. She made the call at the 29th meeting of consultation of ministers of foreign affairs at the OAS in Washington, D.C. Venezuela announced it will withdraw from the regional grouping following comments by the OAS Secretary General Luis Almagro. The foreign minister says Jamaica is concerned about the continued deterioration of the situation in Venezuela. She says her country highly favors meaningful dialogue and discourages the isolation of Venezuela. The Jamaican government is urging all parties in Venezuela to commit renewed dialogue and negotiation towards a comprehensive political agreement. Senator Johnson Smith reiterated Jamaica's willingness to participate in a group of friends mechanism or to offer any assistance that would facilitate renewed dialogue and negotiation between the government and opposition. Meantime, Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell says he thinks CARICOM can help resolve the situation in Venezuela. He made the comments in a national address on Thursday night.
Peace and stability would always continue to be a goal for all of us in this region. The challenges now faced by our neighbor Venezuela must concern us all, especially since there is a strong historic bond between our peoples. The countries of this region are well placed to be honest brokers or mediators in that situation. We are determined to extend a hand of friendship to help the peoples of our dear neighbor within the context of constitutionality, law and order, and respect for human rights.
And ahead in Caribbean Newsline, Bermuda has its first gay marriage. Stay with us.
The Sajiko Cahill School of Business and Management invites you to attend Navigating a Path to Growth, a risk and competitive intelligence conference at Hilton Barbados Resort on June 26th and 27th, 2017. Speakers include Global Strategy and Risk expert Dr. Andrea Schotter, Regional PwC Risk Assurance Leader Bruce Scott, Miss Lisa Padmore, Dr. Delisle Worrell, Mr. Ian D'Souza, Professor Patrick Hossain, Professor Gillian Marcel, and many others. For more information, call 246-424-7731 or visit www.uwichsb.org. Secure your space today.
Beautiful Barbados and 4D Entertainment welcome you to the Flow Soca on the Hill, Sunday, July 23rd, 2017, where the mega stars of Crop Over 2017 assemble with the Caribbean's best, Patrice, Skinny Fabulous, Ricky T, Orlando Octave, and Ultimate Rejects to bring you the world's greatest soca party, the Flow Soca on the Hill. Let's gather the people.
Are you ready? Are you ready now? Hey, Saint Kitts, are you ready? Yeah. Saint Kitts on Nevis, one. Hey, tell me now, are you ready for some rockers music?
Welcome back. Bermuda has had its first gay wedding just shy of a month after a judge ruled that same-sex marriage are allowed in the country. News of the wedding broke on Thursday during a Supreme Court hearing involving attorneys for the couple that won the landmark ruling last month. Gary Marino of ZBM News has more.
It was during a hearing scheduled to determine costs against preserved marriage and third-party contributors to the former charity that Supreme Court Justice Charles Etta Simmons inquired whether any same-sex marriages had taken place since a historic ruling on the 5th of May this year. All counsel appearing during today's hearing answered in the affirmative, indicating that one marriage had so far taken place. ZBM News understands it was carried out by Acting Registrar General Denise Carey. As Registrar General, Aubrey Penniman is off island. It is understood some 20 or so friends and relatives of the two women whose banns were posted last month were on hand for the civil ceremony, which was described as having taken place without much fanfare. Bermudian Julia Salters and Judith Idu of Maryland in the United States posted their bans shortly after the same-sex ruling was handed down last month.
BP Trinidad and Tobago has made two major gas finds of an estimated 2 trillion cubic feet. Ian Watson of CTV News has the details.
The news could not have come at a better time, when the economy is uncertain. But BPTT at the Hilton Hotel and Conference Center on Thursday made the announcement that was music to the ears.
I am happy, extremely happy, to announce that we have found gas in commercial quantities in our two exploration wells, Savannah and Macadamia.
This is the first exploration done by BPTT in 10 years. And while production of these wells won't materialize until the next 3 to 4 years, the Angeline and Juniper platforms are expected to start up soon and produce gas until these new finds kick in. Regional President of BPTT, Norman Christie, stopped short of saying the worst is behind us.
I wouldn't say that we're past the worst forever, but we're definitely past the worst right now because we have this positive inflection point. It is positive news for Trinidad and Tobago in the medium term, without a doubt.
Energy Minister Franklin Khan told reporters BPTT's good news is not the last of it.
Shell hasn't become public with their plan as BP has today. But Shell has some good news to share, and I hope they will share it shortly with the population of Trinidad and Tobago.
Norman Christie said this is a collective effort, whether it be the current or past governments, contractors, or whomever. The main thing is, this is good news for Trinidad and Tobago.
Guyana's government is assuring that a license will be granted to ExxonMobil for production of petroleum to move ahead in 2020. Under the licensing agreement, Guyana will benefit from 50% of the profits from the petroleum sale, along with 2% of the royalties. Under a previous contract signed in 1999, Guyana would have only been getting 1% of the royalties. Natural Resource Minister Raphael Trotman says the license will place emphasis on Guyanese employment and training, the procurement of goods and services in Guyana, infrastructural soundness, and the protection of the environment. Extraction from the Liza field is expected to commence in 2020 at an initial rate of 1,000 barrels of crude oil per day in the first phase. Meanwhile, the government is considering building a smaller oil refinery. This after an oil expert suggested that a large one may not be feasible. Royden James of HGP Nightly News tells us more.
The initial optimism of Guyana establishing a local oil refinery took a turn off the deep end a few weeks ago after a feasibility study suggested that it may not be the right choice for the country. That study was conducted and presented by consultant Pedro Haas, the Director of Advisory Services of Hartree Partners of Mexico. The news came to much disappointment of several sections of society, especially members of the private sector. But from the sound of things, all is not lost. The government might still be looking to construct an oil refinery, but not an expensive one.
Now, I know that the refinery is uppermost in the minds of Guyanese. Government has received one point of view, and it's just a point of view, an opinion, that a large refinery would not be economically feasible. We are, however, looking at the options of something smaller to see whether our local needs could be met.
Minister Trotman contended that Guyana is expected to produce oil of a high quality and that there will not be much refining to do, and therefore it might not be economically feasible to refine the black gold elsewhere.
In addition, not in substitution of, but in addition to what is here, we hope to set up an onshore base somewhere else to support this work.
Additionally, the minister said that about 50% of the work to keep the operations offshore going is being done in Trinidad and Tobago, and it is the hope of the government that this will change.
And we believe that we'd like to see all of it done here. And one of the reasons half is done in Georgetown and half in Trinidad is because the facilities are not all here in Guyana. So we'd like to bring the other 50% to Guyana, and this is what we're working on.
Several locations, including Crab Island, were earmarked for the onshore facility.
And ahead of Newsline Sport, Windies face Afghanistan in the first of 3 T20 internationals. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Your heart to the 21st edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from the 22nd to the 24th of June, featuring Shabarans, Ultimate Rejects, Biboozman, Mobado, Jack Pure, DJ Private Riot, and back together again, Square One. Also performing Third Word, Voice, King Mighty Chalk Dust, Credence Clearwater Revisited, Ed Robinson, Ricardo Drew, Teddyson John, Felicia Ross, Brianna D, Lyrical, and Goo Goo Dolls. For more information, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.net.
Dancing and whining and fretting till the morning. Drinking, masquerading, live music always playing. Islands of blue seas where people always smiling. Street jams and bandstands where people will be jamming. Don't you miss this time, no. Our festival, our legacy. Don't you miss this time, no.
West Indies will be seeking to impose their superiority on minnows Afghanistan and rekindle their winning touch when they meet the side in the first of 320 internationals starting that's Friday night in Bastia. Now, Windies boasts of a strong squad for the series with some of the world's leading T20 specialists in batsman Karen Pollard, Lendell Simmons and Marlon Samuels, along with spinner Sunil Narain and Samuel Badri, all involved. Captain Carlos Brathwaite said on Thursday, even though they were not taking the Afghans for granted, they were confident of imposing themselves on the series.
Back on the winning track. We pride ourselves in our T20 cricket, and as usual, we want to go out there and give the fans a spectacle, play that Caribbean way, playing that exciting way to get fans off the seat. So it's important. We're not underestimating Afghanistan. They're actually the only team to beat us in the recent World Cup triumph. So they were the only team to beat us in the recent World T20 win. So we're not underestimating them, but focusing on ourselves. We want to get back to the winning ways that we know we're capable of, and individually, a lot of guys have stuff to prove. Invest in these colours and ensure everyone is rearing and ready to go.
Since their triumph at the T20 World Cup in India last April, the Windies have declined steadily. Now, Brathwaite blames the slide on poor batting and he's aiming for an about turn in this series.
We spoke about our batting, building partnerships. I don't think we did that well enough in the Pakistan series. The one game that we did put up a good batting performance, we came out trumps. So that's something we definitely spoke about. With regards to the bowling, I think we ticked all our boxes in the Pakistan series. However, we think we can improve on fielding, and we pride ourselves as an energetic fielding team. Making stops and turning half chances into chances and breaking crucial partnerships. That's something we want to improve on going into the series. And once we play our best cricket, the fans will be happy. And eventually, obviously, if we play our best cricket, we should also win. And the aim of the series is to come out on top.
Well, the first T20 match at Warner Park is set for 7:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. Now, head coach Vasper Drakes believes Windies women possess the skill set and the knowledge to excel in challenging English conditions during the upcoming Women's World Cup. England, known for its damp, bleak weather, even during summer, has become notorious for the swinging ball, a proven bane for many an experienced batsman in the past. Now, speaking ahead of the tournament, Drake said he hoped a combination of information and technique can nullify this threat in the June 24 to July 23 campaign.
Coaches that have been playing in England, and I think the knowledge that we have, it should make a difference in terms of being able to pass on information. The wickets, certainly in England, around this time of the year, when I did my research, they seem to be a lot more batting friendly. People talking about the ball swinging in England, the ball swinging all around the world. So if you have decent fundamentals, it certainly would give you a chance to achieve the desired result.
Windies women enter the tournament as one of the favourites, especially after capturing the T20 World Cup last year in India. They were also beaten finalists in the last 50-over World Cup in India 4 years ago and impressed during the ICC Women's Championship Series to finish fourth and book an automatic spot in the upcoming tournament. Drake said the squad is full of quality players who are yet to reach their full potential, and once improvement continues to occur, the Windies could be a serious threat.
As I said previously, a lot of learning would have took place since I took over from Campbell, who again would have done a really good job. Certainly I've got a better understanding on the players and stuff like that by being a lot more closer to them. I see they have certainly grown as individuals. I think, if you're going to be honest, a lot of the players are still 24, 25, and this team have a hell of a lot, potential, and they still believe that. I still believe that they can, they can get better as a group. So, my job is to continue to challenge them and challenge myself to get the best out of the players. So presently I'm enjoying, where we're at as a group. I think everyone is in a really good headspace, and if we can continue, in that manner, I think we can do something special.
Meanwhile, Jamaican all-rounder Chanel Daly says she is glad to be back in regional colours, although she had to fight a mental battle to return to duty. Daly, who has been out of action for 2 years because of injury, says it was a difficult period for her. The Jamaican was speaking after their first training session in England on Friday.
The first year or so was pretty difficult because, seeing the team out there playing, they had a few tours in the Caribbean and outside the Caribbean. It was difficult. I won't lie. It was difficult to the point where I even thought about quitting. But with a few encouragement from some of my teammates and a couple of the staff members and a couple of the couple members of the board, I fought through it.
Daly says she will be taking a very cautious approach in this World Cup, while pointing to one important factor the Windies need to consider if they want to win the title.
To be honest, taking it one day at a time, right? Yeah, it's the World Cup and everybody wants to win. We want that title. So I think taking it one step at a time, managing myself and seeing how it goes from the training sessions, practice games leading up to the World Cup. I just want to take it one day at a time. We definitely have to play together as a team. We have to support each other on and off the field. Once we do that, I think we'll be good.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Follow your heart to the 21st edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from the 22nd to the 24th of June, featuring Shabarant, Ultimate Rejects, The Boozman, Mobado, Jack Pure, DJ Private Riot, and back together again, Square One. Also performing Third Word, Voice, King Mighty Chalk Dust, Credence Clearwater Revisited, Ed Robinson, Ricardo Drew, Tedison John, Felicia Ross, Brianna D, Lyrical, and Goo Goo Dolls. For more information, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.net.
Are you ready? Are you ready now? Hey, St. Kitts, are you ready? Yeah. St. Kitts on Nevis, Wagwan. Hey, tell me now, are you ready for some rockers music?
Hey, I love the song for the people. Heritage of the St. Kitts people.
Beautiful Barbados and 4D Entertainment welcome you to the Flow Soca on the Hill, Sunday, July 23rd, 2017, where the mega stars of Crop Over 2017 assemble with the Caribbean's best: Patrice, Skinny Fabulous, Ricky T, Orlando Octave, and Ultimate Rejects to bring you the world's greatest soca party, the Flow Soca on the Hill. Let's gather the people.
Again, the major developments of this day. Dominica's Prime Minister tells his regional colleagues to look beyond the U.S. for socio-economic development. And in sport, Windies face Afghanistan in the first of 3 T20 internationals on Sunday. That's Caribbean Newsline for news and sports round the clock. Log on to CanonNews.com. We'll be back here again on Tuesday. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.